Hi everyone, and today the topic is something very important. Like, if you're doing any sort of programming language, now call it any programming language, C++, C, Java, Python. So, oops is a concept which comes almost everywhere, right? So, why is it so important? We'll talk about all of these things in a certain manner. So, the flow of all the videos of the playlist will be that we'll be firstly looking into the concept and then we'll be doing programming. Again, another concept of hoops, and then again the programming part. So, this is how we'll be generally following everything, right? So, okay, let's just start with this thing. Oops, right? So this is not the English phrase oops, but this is a term which we generally use. So if we talk about oops, the full form says it's object oriented programming. Okay, so what does it mean? How much English we all know, we could say that okay, object oriented, but what does it mean? Okay, so whosoever are watching this video, one thing, how many of you have just crashed a wedding? Like, okay, now you would be thinking that how is this related to this topic? See, if you would have crashed wedding or attended any wedding where you were invited, you would have seen that okay, there are generally two systems which are there. Like one is paper plate, right? So in there, like like the quantity of plates which will be used in the marriage, so you have to pay in the end as per that. Okay, that is one certain thing. Second certain thing is that if I talk about, like, we people have the total overall bill, right? So how much food people will be eating, so it will be depending upon that. It is not a per plate system. So I can call the first as paper plate oriented system, and the second one I can just say overall food consumption oriented system, right? So that is the basic meaning. Similarly, if now I'm talking about object oriented programming, definitely we all are doing programming. Like, if you have come to this video, it means definitely you have some programming background. But even if you don't have some programming background, just cherish this beautiful concept, right? So, programming. Now, when we do programming, like, generally there are two ways of doing programming: scripting way or the object oriented way. So till now, if you are watching this video, so definitely it means that you have already done scripting way. Now, what is a scripting way? Scripting way is a very usual way. It is also called logical procedure method, right? So what is logical procedure? Simple. Supposedly I say that, okay, like, let me just say that, okay, you are working in a particular company and you are asked that, okay, do this task. Now, for understanding, let me assume that you are given a task that, okay, let's, so we need to find that, okay, there's a number and just check out whether the number is even or not, right? So definitely what we'll do, we'll make a very simple function. Like, supposedly, let me write is underscore even, that is the name I would be giving. So that is, it will take certain input which is number, and I will simply say that if number modulus 2 equal to 0, right, then return true, right? Which means that, yeah, it is even, right? So if I say underscore even 2, so yeah, it is even. Definitely, let's say 3, it didn't return anything. So we can also do else return false, right? So yeah, it gave you false. Let's just think of some number. So this is what the conventional way we do, right? So if you are coming from C++ Java background, definitely you can make a logic very simple. So if you notice one thing, what happened over here, you gave a certain input, right? It performed certain operations, and then you were having a particular output, which means that generally what we do is we give certain input, we develop a logic, right, which you can place inside a function or you can directly write it. That is an obvious thing. So after that, you give an output. This is the traditional way of programming, or you can say the scripting way of programming, which we are adopting. Of very, so this is a kind of pipeline which is being created, that okay, give an input, process it, make some logic in that processing, and once that logic is there, display the corresponding output, whatever you want. But there are many people who go for this concept, which is OOPS. Now, similar thing can also be performed using OOPS, that is object-oriented programming. Till now, we have been following a traditional procedure. Simple. But if you know, like if there is a layman, right, who just doesn't know even ABC of programming, okay, go and ask the maid who comes to your house, right? She won't be understanding what is input, what is processing, what is output, what is making a logic. She doesn't know that, right? She doesn't know this all things, right? Even if supposedly this is still a simple program, I give you some program which is a bit high level program, and that program says that okay, there's a car, you need to specify the certain attributes of a car, and you have to just give, you are supposed to give certain output, like we can just say that. Now, definitely, if you will be saying again the same thing, okay, my input to your mate, supposedly, that okay, this is my input, I'll be putting in the parameters like engine, the speed, the wheels, the color, the model, and this is the logic I'll be applying, and this is what output will be there. She won't understand. Definitely, she won't, right? And also, those people, those who are not very good at programming, they are not, they do the programming surely, but they're not able to understand exactly what it is. So here oops come into picture, which kind of simplifies the task as well, but makes it a bit difficult as well. From programming, from coding point of view, it makes it a bit difficult, but from the understanding point of view, oops make the task easier. Now there are many people those who just go like, should we opt for oops or should we go for a scripting manner? See, I would just say that definitely there are communities who are in favor of OOPS, who are against OOPS, who are in favor of scripting, against scripting. So, but it is advisable to follow OOPS because OOPS also come with certain extra features. I can say that okay, 95% of the tasks which you do with OOPS, you can also do with scripting, but those 5% tasks you can't do, right? What are those? As the video proceeds, you will be knowing what are the features, right? And you would be really appreciating this small concept. It's so beautiful, right? Okay, now not getting away from the topic as of now. So let's just talk about okay, my maid won't understand this way. She doesn't know that what is input, output, processing, what is the logic, like what I did. Now, if you are a developer, software developer, data scientist, anyone related to programming, your clients are definitely going to be some businessmen or some people, those who will be working with you. It's not sure now that your clients will be into this domain, right? So they won't be understanding this, but they have to pay you. If they have to pay you, on what basis will they pay you? Surely the end product, definitely. But do you think that a person who doesn't even know ABC of programming, he would just know all these things and you would get the pay as per your job? You won't get, right? And also another thing is, he will check side by side, right? That are you giving him the functionality which he's giving, which he's asking? Wait, are you doing that? So definitely oops come into picture because oops, what is oops? So oops is related to object oriented. Now, what are objects, right? What are classes? We are going to talk about that, but this is something which is more close to real world. Now, how it is or what it is. Let's just take an example, right? So if I talk about this particular thing with what are classes and objects, so a very simple example, let me give you. Say that I am talking about a particular car. Okay. I said car. Now you would be wondering which car, which brand, what is the specification, what is the interior, many things, right? And if you are more car enthusiast, definitely more questions. But when I say about car, this is for sure that you have an idea inside your head that okay, it is something which has four wheels, engines, it has certain interiors, it runs on a petrol or diesel or some fuel. You have an imagination, right, in your mind, though you don't know any specification, but you have an imagination. Now say I'm talking about an animal. Again, you don't know what sort of animal, but you have a picture of animal. This means no specification, but just a sort of idea you have. This is called class, right? When you classify some real world entity, right? That is called a class. So class is sort of a blueprint. Now, definitely when I say car, there is nothing called what is the existence of car, right? car will only exist, like this is just a sort of classification. It is just a concept, right? If I am more precise. But if I say Audi, Mercedes Benz, Nano, Ferrari, all of these are actually existent, right? Just that we call them car. So the car is a concept, but in itself, car isn't anything. Just a classification. Audi, BMW, everything will come inside an umbrella, and that umbrella is called a class, right? So in itself, you can't touch, feel, or do anything with the classes. You can't. But the object is a real world entity. Now, what is the object? If I am very specific about that idea, if I say car and I am being specific about car, that okay, this is Audi, now you are able to imagine exactly that what it is. So that is an object, right? The real world entity is my object, while the classification or the generic idea, that is my class. Simple. Now, as I said that suppose I created a class car and I defined the variable and the functions whatsoever are there. So whatever I do, that is basically to satisfy your imagination. Now when I say Audi, that is basically what I call as object. That is a real world entity. That is something which exists in real world. So all of the Audi, Ferrari, everything will be the object of class car, right? Now, what is the thing or what is the concept that all of the cars have certain general features and properties? They'll be having that. Cool. But they will also have their additional features, right? In terms of programming, I can say they will have their additional variables and additional functions, while a class car will have certain generalized, you can say, the variables and functions, but the objects will have their own attributes as well, right? So now this is something where we are taking the programming into the real world, right? Like close to real world. And now anyone who has asked you, now if you say him car, he would understand car, right? Don't use a terminology object, just say Audi, he will understand it, right? So now the main idea behind OOPS is that we're trying to bring all of these things to the real world, right? So that we can draw some parallelism, right? And also, one more thing, if I talk about, there are many features of OOPS. Like OOPS will offer you some sort of security. OOPS will provide a structure to your program. How this happens, what it all happens, for that, please follow next of the videos of the playlist. And I hope that this concept was clear. And if you have any doubt, you can just mail concepts in depth and easy at the rate of gmail.com. Thank you and have a good day.